Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker today is Preflatish, one of our members, soon to be president of our chapter.
Oh, please don't remind me of that.
Okay, we'll skip on now.
They broke my arm to make me do that.
Anyway, she's going to tell us.
I was also under the influence of alcohol at the time. Remember?
But she's going to speak to us, or tell us how to be an organized writer. And that's something I know I could use, and I'm sure everybody else can. Take it away, Miss Carol.
Thank you, Elaine. Okay, well, yes, I am going to be talking about how to be an organized writer. I feel like I am exceptionally organized. It's just, I mean, almost OCD to that point. Whenever I was working full-time at a day job, when I left at the end of the day, my desk was completely cleaned off. Everything was put back where it was supposed to be. The one time I did not clean my desk off, I was working on a case, and I like this, I had stuff spread out all over my desk and in order. So I didn't want to move it because I wanted to jump right back into it the next day. When I got to work the next day, I swear all of my coworkers said, "Are you okay?" Because they knew my desk was always cleaned off at the end of the day. So I'm organized. How many of you think that, maybe not that organized, but how many of you think you are organized? Depends on what?
When I worked for the federal government, and I was in a government office building, my desk was clean.
I work state government. I work state government, so yeah, gotcha. Okay. There's different ways of being organized. There's also chaos. I mean, you can just see, I mean, everything's just sort of scattered here on the table. Back at my day job, we had a clerk. You could not see the top of her desk. I kid you not. It was brown. There's no way you would have known that unless you saw the sides. She had papers. Yeah, she had papers stacked everywhere. I mean, she looked so disorganized. Like I said, it was just chaos when you walked in. But when I would go in and I'd ask her for something, she knew exactly where on her desk it was. So she was organized. It was just a chaos type organization. First, I want to talk about your work area. Now, I work at a desk at home, although recently I've moved to the couch because my desk chair's gotten so uncomfortable. Till I get a new one, I'm sitting on the couch with the table in front of me. But if you have an office, my desk is in the living room. You can go to a coffee shop. I've gone to a coffee shop before. I like going there because there's no distractions. You might think there would be distractions, people coming in and out, people talking, but I don't know them. I don't care. I'll sometimes eavesdropping give me some ideas for my book, but you can, you can kind of block them out. The best place I ever wrote, the funniest place I ever wrote was in the chair at my dentist office while my gums were getting numb. I took a folder with me and I sat with my pencil and paper and I wrote while we were waiting for, which was pretty good because then I got to do a little talking with the dentist and the hygienist and assistant, and I might have sold some books that day. So, with some of the places, are any unusual places or where you've written?
Friends.
Yeah, it's quiet. You have the hum of the rails. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. I have a friend who took. She took. What's the train? The passenger train. I can't think of the name. Of old age here. No, just Amtrak. She took an Amtrak she was coming back from a trip to California. She flew into Chicago, her and her family. Her family flew ahead down to Louisville. She took Amtrak down and wrote. And she got a lot, she said she got a lot written doing that. So there's different places. I've talked about being neat. I've talked about being messy. One of the handouts that I emailed to you all was, was called the Organized Writer's 6 Rules. It's by Julie Hood on organizedwriter.com. I printed this off a long time ago. I haven't went back to check. I don't know if they're still there or not, but I'm just going to kind of hit some of the highlights of it. The first one says, work with yourself, not against yourself. When you're trying to become more organized, it's tempting to try and fit into the existing organizing system of an expert. You're your own expert. Don't try to be somebody else's, like an expert like somebody else. What's more effective is to understand your personality and what works for you. Like I said, for me, it was my desk cleaned off at the end of the day. For the clerk at the office, it was her desk just covered. Give something new a fair trial. If something I say today interests you, give it a try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, go back to what you were doing. The second is focus and pay attention. When it's possible, only do one thing at a time. I have a terrible time doing that. Terrible time doing that. I'll be writing and suddenly I think, oh, okay, I was writing something the other day and I need to look up how blood interacts with a bullet over time. So I minimized my screen. I went on the internet and man, it's like going down a rabbit hole when you start doing it, especially if you're on YouTube. Oh my gosh, all the research stuff on YouTube, and then so I have to try to stay on one task, make a note on a Post-it note and look it up later. Let's see. When we split our attention between different tasks, multitasking, most likely none of them will get done right, if at all. I think that might be wrong. For some people that might be right, but there are some people that can multitask like crazy and get stuff done. So that, I don't exactly agree with that. The third one, invest your time. Just like we invest our money, we have to invest our time in the best way. Setting up your new organization system may be considered an investment. Something like that can be used during National Novel Writing Month, the NaNoWriMo. A lot of people, it's in November, a lot of people in October spend that month doing research, plotting, getting things organized, getting ready, setting up a schedule. So that's invest your time wisely if that's what works for you. Make a habit of it. Once you have these plans in place, work at making them a habit. You can create a new habit or lose a bad one in 21 days. They say you have to do something 7 times before it's a habit. This is saying 21 days, give or take there. The fifth one, use the right tools. Make sure you have the right tools handy when you need them. Have pens, your Post-it notes. I'll go into some of this stuff later, but there's all kinds of stuff you can have handy. I'm going to go over pretty much all this a little bit later, but what works for you, keep it handy. I always have to keep finger food on my desk. M&M's is the downfall. Grapes is really good, but I have to have my Pepsi or my sweet tea. So, and that's all, and when you take a break, do your refills. Go to the bathroom, do your refills. And number 6, work forward. Organize your work ahead. Don't organize what's already finished. So once you finish a chapter, leave it alone. Don't go back to it until you're ready to start your edits. I'm really bad about that. I'll be sitting on the couch watching TV and I'll be thinking about what I just wrote during the day. And I'm thinking, I need to, and then I gotta go back. I make a note, again, Post-it notes. I make a note, stick it in my binder, which I'll go through my binder here in just a little bit. And I know to go back, chapter 3, did I have Nathan introduce this character so I need to go back and check on that. Then when you have more of your future under control, you can deal with the old paperwork. So maybe when you finish a chapter, before you start the next one, if you've got like me and have got a bunch of notes written out, go back and work on them and then move forward. So those are the organizational 6 rules of organization that I found online. I want to talk a little bit about how we write. When meaning computer, tablet, pen and paper, pencil and paper, a lot of different ways to do that. On the computer, I recommend, I mean, everybody should be backing up their work, but I don't recommend, I myself probably overdo the backing up because I have it on my hard drive. I save it on a flash drive. This is an external drive for my computer. I have it saved on an external drive, and I also have it saved in the cloud. The reason I went overboard with that is because I lost, the first book I wrote, I lost 2 chapters. They got corrupted, they just disappeared. And my husband luckily was able to get everything back, but about 2 or 3 paragraphs. So I had to rewrite. But after, because I hadn't backed it up anywhere, I just had it on the computer hard drive. So after that, I kind of went overboard. And if I'm sitting and typing and working on my book, and I've got to get up and go to the bathroom, I've got to go answer the front door, I save it. I don't walk away from that computer unless I saved it, which happened the other night. I was working on my book. I started, I was about the middle of chapter 7. I had typed some stuff and I was tired, but I'm going to deal with this tomorrow. I thought I had saved it. So luckily I only lost a couple paragraphs and I was able to rewrite them the next day. But man, I was mad that I had not saved my work. So anyway, as I said, hard drive, flash drive, on the cloud. I use Dropbox for my cloud because it's been set up for a long time. So I just back it up in, and then I said back up often. There are some programs that you can get that can help you organize your writing. I don't use any of them. I've not ever used any of them, so I can't really talk a whole lot about them. But there's one called Y Writer, the letter Y Writer. I have a writer friend who used that. It's a talk to text. You can speak into it and use it that way. There's also Scrivener. I think that's probably the most popular one, the one everybody knows the most about. It has its own Post-it notes, from what I understand, that you can store scenes. You can store your character charts. You can, has anybody used Scrivener? Any of you all, you've used Scrivener? Anybody on Zoom use Scrivener? Scrivener. It's supposed to be one of the most popular. Like I said, anytime I think about using it, I'm already in the middle of a manuscript and I don't really want to switch over to it. I'm not used to it. I think there is a learning curve to anything new that you try. And then there's the voice to text programs you can get. Word has its own, I believe. I've thought about using that, never have. I don't know how they work. There used to be one called Dragon. I don't even know if it's still around or not that you can use, but I'm sure there's all kinds out there that you can find. And then we're going to go and talk about how I organize. There's all kinds of ways. Usually this is what I use we'll start from the end. When I have finished a book, everything I have written, handwritten, my research, the character charts for the characters just specific to that book, it all gets filed away. I don't throw anything away. It all gets filed away, stuck in my file cabinet. So you've got, and this is like an accordion type. You can get them that's even more accordion than this, but this usually holds my stuff. This is probably more for a nonfiction type, or if you're writing an article. But this is an organization folder. I don't know if you can see it. It has, and I'll pass these around, has details of what the project is, contact names, all kinds of stuff like this. And then there's the vinyl folders. This is the one I keep all my records for my income and expenses, which you can see is pretty empty. But, and all of these you can get like Walmart, Target. You can get them online. If you want to pass those around, look at them. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. And then this is my Bible. I went to a writer's conference and heard the writer talk about how they kept everything in binders, all their stuff in binders. I'm like, no, I don't want to haul this thing around. I will admit when you're going to a coffee shop and you're taking your laptop or your tablet and you're hauling this around with you, it's bundlesome, but that's where this comes in real handy, is my bag. But this is, and I'll pass this around for everybody to look too. This is the one I used for my coin collector book. And I've left some of the stuff in here, but I have sections. The first section is a synopsis and an outline. It's also where I keep track of my word count. And I have the form I use for my word count is just one. I used a ruler and a marker and made lines. Actually, one of my coworkers did it and I stole it from her. But pretty much, I have my tagline, my synopsis. If I'm doing any outlining, which my outlines are pretty much just paraphrase type things, they go in here so I can write from them. Sometimes if I find myself stuck, I'll sit down and handwrite in pencil and paper my book. So it takes a little longer because then you got to sit down and type it up. But some of this is that also. The next section is my character charts, which I sent around to everybody. The first one, I don't think I sent this one around. I have a chart that I just made on Excel. So real easy to make. These are all my characters that I have in the book. And I just make a note what their name is, the description if they're a police officer, and then any notes that I want to make over here, I make them over there. I usually keep the character list. I usually keep one for characters that are going to be in every book. So that way I just have to move it from binder to binder. And then I start a new one. And this is the original one I made. And then I start a new one with characters just from the book I'm working on. The character charts I keep in here. These are just a couple of the character charts from this book. And I'll show you my character charts for the recurring characters here in a minute. The next chapter is research. Usually it's way more than this, but this is the coin collector. This is my research about coins. I didn't have a lot of it because I collect coins, so I already knew most of what I needed to know, but anything specific to the coin that I was writing about went in here. I did, my last romance that I wrote was called Her Bluegrass Bow. It takes place on a horse ranch. I know nothing about horses, so I had a whole lot of stuff in there about horses. I have information about guns that I got off the internet. I printed off. I keep menus from restaurants that I want to use. I keep, wine lists because I drink the cheap wine, but I want my character to drink a good wine. So I've got information there on wine lists. So I've got all kinds, anything that you can look up, I stick in there. The next chapter is the next section of the binder is my to-do list, which I've got nothing in here because this book is done. I'll show you my to-do list in my current one here in a minute. And then queries. And I think I sent the sheet that I fill out for myself whenever I've sent a query off to a publisher or if it's an article to a magazine. And I keep that, or I might keep, air conditioner came on, so everybody's sneezing. I also sometimes keep a list of possible publishers that I might want to submit to. And then my last section is maps and charts. And in this section, my book takes place in Massachusetts, so I have maps for Massachusetts. I have a bigger map of Massachusetts if I took it out and unfolded it. I also have, because I get tired of writing, they say only use the word, said, he said, she said, but I also have a chart that are different words for said. And then the back of this is a page out of a really, really old English book that I got it when I was in high school, but it was older than that. It was just a book my English teacher wanted to get rid of. She knew I liked writing. This talks about connectives between sentences and paragraphs. So when I was in high school and college, this was just invaluable. I don't know what happened to the book. It probably got lost after I got married. But, these sheet protectors are great for stuff like that. Oh, one other thing I usually keep in here, and I usually keep it in the back. My fictional town is called Mystic, Massachusetts, but it's actually Salem. It's after Salem. So I get visitor information from Salem, Massachusetts. So I know what's going on, not to mention there's a great town map in there too. So I mean, use that for your advantage too. But I usually have that stuck in the back. This one, I will pass around for you to look at. This one I will not pass around to look at because it has secrets in it of my current book. When I gave this presentation one time, I went through and took all the stuff out of the binder that told who the murderer was before I passed it around. So I didn't want anybody to know. But let me show you here. I'm probably going to go out of the screen here, but you can see my word counts that I'm doing. And I do a lot of them. I'll do the same thing. I'll make a new sheet of this. After I get the book done, I'll go through and make a new sheet for edits. And that way I can keep track of my words, where I've got done. If I've saved the, over on the left where it says external drive, flash drive, hard drive, Dropbox, that tells if I've saved it there. Because sometimes, like right now, I don't have my flash drive at the couch with me. I save it everywhere else. So everything would be checked with that. And then my timeline, I keep a timeline. What happened? Chapter 1 is on a Monday. Chapter 2 is on a Tuesday. Chapter 3 is on a Thursday. So I know, and you'll see if it's in there or not. In the margins, whenever I'm doing my plotting, I have the date over there on the side. This is the first page I wrote when I started this book, and these are the characters. My current book is a modern day telling of the legend of Sleepy Hollow that takes place in Mystic, Massachusetts. So I kind of wanted to keep the name sort of similar. So I have, on this one, I had the names of the characters actually in the legend of Sleepy Hollow and what their character names were going to be in my book. And then this is stuff I've been writing here, and you can see my little Post-it notes all over the places here. Instead of writing out what I was going to do, I was on the couch, I didn't have anything but my green Post-it notes, so I wrote out a whole scene on 4 of those. The next section is my character charts, and again, this is mostly recurring characters that's in every book, and then this starts characters just for this book. And then these are my recurring characters charts, and you can see a lot of margin writing here. Don't think that you just have to write one certain thing. Usually I print these, the ones I sent to you, usually when I print them out to save paper, I print them front and back. But you know, I use a lot of the margins over here to write stuff. The big charts I use for my main characters, Nathan, Dana, Hank, Detective Denzinger, they will all have their bigger, more detailed charts. And then the other chart that I had sent out to everybody, this is like the recurring, or the characters that are just in this book, the murder victim, the murderer, Joe that might show up every once in a while, you know, just I keep those. And you can see I also make good use of the tabs here too. And again, more, this one is going to be a character chart. I just only got as far as the Post-it notes on it. And then the next section is on research, and that's where I told you I have all kinds of stuff. This one I printed off when I found out what blood does to a bullet over time. I have a where they find the remains in a bricked up wall, and the bullet is still there that killed. But you know, it was in his body. It was like 30 years ago. What damage did that, you know, can that bullet be connected to a gun now? So I had to look that up and find out. The answer is no. Really?
Well,
Blood deteriorates. You probably know blood deteriorates it.
No, I mean, it's still calibrated.
Right, but they can't.
Kind of,
Right, they can't do a ballistic match to a specific gun on that because the blood's corrosive, right? That's kind of what I found out, and it will eat away on the bullet that's left. Okay, I'm writing about a specific house in the book right now. So I found a house in Massachusetts, and I printed that off so I would have I mean, I don't copy it word for word, but it's a good guideline to go, and it's a historic house. No, I've never been there. That's my bucket list. I mean, I'm writing about the place you think I should be there, right? I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna make it there someday. I usually try to make a chart, get a chart offline about the sunrise, sunset times for the time that I'm writing about. And if somebody's gonna go on a moonlit stroll, I don't want it to be 4 o'clock in the day. And then, like I said, this is this is all the police officers in Salem, Massachusetts at the time I printed this off. It just kind of gave me an idea of how big the department is and how many officers are in what division of the department. So, I mean, I love research, so I kind of go overboard on it too. But, you know, again, all kinds of stuff. And then I mentioned my to-do notes, and there's my to-do notes. And then again, the queries, and I took the maps and put them in that one that normally would be in here. So those are my Bibles. That's what I do with my Bibles. Okay, now I've lost my pages. Sure. Uh-huh. This is all modern day for me. All modern day. Don't have. Nope. That's because it's modern day. That's why it's modern day. Salem is a neighboring town to Mystic. Mystic gets the overflow tourists from Salem during October when it's that type of season. The last book I wrote was called Witch Hunt, and that's the book. I waited to the 3rd book in my series before I brought witchcraft into it, but there will be a little bit of witchcraft from now on, but it won't be the whole book like witchcraft was. That's why Elaine brought me my tarot card book, because I'm going to have a tarot reading in the next one, or the one I'm working, the one I'm working on now, I think. Okay, so those are my folders. Those are my binders. Now I have a lot of gadgets. Did you have a question? Yeah, I thought you were getting ready to ask something.
I was just, because I am a chaotic writer, and you know, the cat said they're better organized than I am. But I'm in awe.
I told you I'm OCD.
Well, the other thing is too that you write in longhand. I can't do that anymore.
I love. Well, you can see my handwriting is terrible. I'm probably the only one that can read it. But yeah, I love. If I get stuck, I mean, I hate to just sit during nano, just to sit and type. I can't do it. I have to take a break and write in longhand. So I got after chapter 6, I got really. I had no idea what chapter 7 was going to go. So I sat on the couch with my notebook and pencil, and chapter 7 just flowed out. So when I get stuck, I do both, but I read longhand, which is why I only put it every year or so, because it takes so long. I talked about the Post-it notes, and my favorite is my little kitty on here. But you can see all the different size notes you can write out on. You can find this come from my husband's employer. He grabs free stuff when he can. My daughter got me this. I have no idea where she got it. She got me this. It has all pretty much the same things in it. Real cheap. These don't stick very well. These stick really well. Those stick really well. When I was working full time, I was a trainer for a while, and I went to a trainer session to learn how to be a trainer. And they talked about the colors, all the different colors, and that some people learn really well with colors. They're more visual as far as learning goes. And that must be me, because I'm always grabbing all the colors that I can with Post-it notes. But the gadgets, how many times have you woke up in the middle of the night from a dream and think, oh, that would have been so good. That's so good for my book. And then you go right back to sleep, and the next morning you can't remember it. So you either wake up, turn on the light, find pencil and paper, write it down. Can't go back to sleep then. Or you can grab either your phone or a little micro recorder. I keep this by my bed and 2 buttons and I'm recording. This, and so-and-so walked into the bar and ordered whatever. Then the next morning I've got it. This is also really good to have in the car with you. And I had somebody at one of my presentations say, well, just use the record function on your cell phone. Okay, well, when you're driving, you're not really supposed to be holding your cell phone. And for me to try to drive and try to, no way can I, I know. I need to check my insurance first, make sure I got good car coverage. This one, it's like turning on over here and pressing this button and then press it again when I'm done. And, I can just reach over and grab it. And when I was working, I drove all over Southern Indiana to do my job sometimes. And there were many times that I was driving and pass that around. There was many times that I was driving and came up with some ideas. I got that off of, I got that off of Amazon for like $25. The first one that I got, I had one when I was working. I was an administrative law judge and I was conducting hearings, and they supplied me with one. That was the first one I'd ever had, and it was real easy to work. Then I ordered one after I retired. I had my husband give to me for Christmas one year, and I made the mistake of buying it with too many buttons. And so before I ordered that one, I made sure it was very simple to use. So yeah, that's, a recorder is really good for that. The cell phone is really good if you're able to, if you can handle it. For driving, there's just no way. Thank you. This one just charges with a USB connection to your computer, or you can put an adapter and charge it with an outlet. You can also use, if you have a file that you want to upload to your laptop, you can also do that with this too.
That's a great suggestion, and I think I'm going to invest in one of those. And I feel like you and I are kind of sister writers in a way, because everything you said you do, all of these charts and things you use in your Bible. My Bible is really the only thing I keep physically that I use, because I do all my writing and all my spreadsheets and all those charts that you've created. I do them all on the computer. Yeah. But when I get woke up in the middle of the night, or if I can't go to sleep, which is pretty often, my mind is going and I'm setting up scenes and I'm like figuring out what's going to happen next. And I just go and go and go, and I just don't get to sleep.
Sometimes it's just not feasible just to sit there and write it out, or it could go a whole lot quicker just picking up the recorder for that.
And it disturbs my husband if I talk, so I'm going to have to go to the bathroom to do that. But if I'm gone for more than 5 minutes, he's in here going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah. The only place that it doesn't help, and I have not figured out anyways, when you're in the shower. It's not waterproof, no waterproof paper or pen. Just either get out dripping and hope that you can remember it once you're out of the shower. I mentioned the Post-it notes, gobs and gobs of these. These are all I bought. But when you go to conferences and stuff, a lot of times you can get, I think when we had our retreat, we stuck some cheap Post-it notes in there. This came from a conference I was at. I was just looking here. Cops and Writers Group, legal fiction. I have no idea what that is. That's what Elaine and I were talking. I write something down at a conference, and by the time I get home, I have no idea what it is that I'm writing about. The only other thing is, and this is like old school, but I keep a planner. This is my Witch's Date book. I got this when I was started to write Witch, and I liked it so well. I've got one. This is last year's. I got one for this year, and I've already bookmarked to order one for next year. But I have to keep, I'm old school. I keep everything calendar in my phone too, but I also keep it here by my desk. And the same stuff's in both. But if I'm at my desk, I can just glance over and see, oh, I've got to do that today, rather than pick up my phone and see what's going on for the day. So that's pretty much all I have for today. This is what I do. When I go to the coffee shop. I have all my pens and papers and everything in that. But does anybody have any questions? No, because I'm having a hard enough time writing my current book.
How long does it take to write?
Because I get stuck and I don't write every day. I usually can put a book out every 12 to 16, 18 months. I try to do one a year, but like when I was doing Nano, I was so intensely writing in the month of November that when I got done, I probably didn't write for over a month later because I was so sick of it. Now, lately I've gotten back into it again. I've been writing every night. So, I mean, it's just, it comes and goes. But yeah, I try to put a book out a year. My last one came out February of this year. I'm only on chapter 7 of my current one, so it's probably going to be late 2023 before it comes out.
What attracted you to the locale, such as Salem?
Because I want to go there.
Why did you go there? So what's
Because of the witchcraft. I'm very interested in that.
Oh,
Very interested in
these
that.
folks was-
What are you waiting for?
Excuse me?
What are you waiting for?
I don't want to travel by myself.
Girls trip.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm there.
I really want to go, and yeah, but I don't want to go by myself.
And when I was at Imaginarium, I was attending a screenwriting research thing, and there is no way that you can really know a place until you've been there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Smells.
can do all the research. I can do Google Maps. I can do Google Street View. I have a Pinterest board for each one of my books for the locations, but until you actually go there, I mean, I wrote one book about the Smoky Mountains, and the Smoky Mountains is my second home.
Yeah.
Because my husband and I would go there 3 or 4 times a year. So that, I mean, I got, that's one of my Nano books. That was the only Nano book I finished in a month because I knew that area. I didn't have to do any research. It was also a romance, so it was really easy. But yeah, I mean, yeah, hey, anybody wants to go, let me know because I'm ready to head off. Any questions from the Zoom folks here? Nope, nothing here. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.